I'm Mason Mount. You're listening to the London is Blue podcast.
Well, we will get to the wrestling heel part later in the show. Like, let's hold on because there's something to go there. I do really want to talk about your transition to stadium announcer on match day, right? Because this is kind of a newer role for you over the last couple of years, and it's something that it's obviously a far cry from doing kind of video interviews, right? It's a whole different skill set. It's a whole different energy. Maybe talk to us a little bit about that transition and kind of how you found it.
Wow. Yeah. Exciting, scary, invigorating. And it was just an honor to be given the opportunity. First and foremost, I mean, I've watched sort of Neil Barnett do it for so long and so well. And so for the club to ask me to step into some pretty big shoes, I was like, okay. And it was, nerve-wracking isn't the word. The first game, we did a couple of dry runs. We did a couple of rehearsals in that pre-season. And it was incredible. There were, like, as you know, in pre-season games, like 7 substitutions at once. I'm there sort of like fumbling bits of paper and scribbling names and numbers. And I was like, right, who did Ruben come on for? And then the first Premier League game I did was Arsenal at home. So no pressure. And my goodness, the buzz, I have certain rituals and certain things, but I could not eat. I still don't really eat before home game. And my goodness, my stomach was in knots. And I stood there and did the sort of first team read, and I found myself right in front of the bench. And so all of a sudden, I've got all these players like this staring at me. And just heckling and throwing things at me. I'm just like,
I bet.
And then I remember after the game, Eden Hazard came up to me and just, bless him, it was very, very sweet in what he said, which kind of made me feel a bit better. And he had some kind words, but my word, but I love it. It's hard to put into words, but I didn't know it was my dream job until I started doing it. And now it's just the best thing in the world, and it scares the life out of me, but wow, what a buzz. It's brilliant. I love it. I'm very
literally
very lucky.
A London derby to kick it off, and then it wasn't a straightforward match. Plenty of goal announcements. Oh my gosh. Well, they're just throwing you in the deep end on a lot of these things. You're just hitting home run after home run, as we Americans like to say, knocking it out of the park. But I love how you kind of teed into a little bit about your relationship with the players. Obviously you're a media personality for the club. And we've gotten to see that strong bond that you have been able to develop with the players, whether it's Lee's outtakes that we get to see, even just
don't know what you mean.
Just even, your relationship when you do little bits with the players, how they can be more relaxed and fun with you. I'm sure you're sleeping better now that David is gone, even though we miss him and love him for everything he's done for the club. That one obviously jumps to mind. It was funny. Someone even asked, I can't remember where it was on social media, when we said we're going to talk to you. They said, how many penalties did you draw from David Luiz tackling you? And then, but yeah, I guess the question really is, what's the best prank they've been able to pull on you? And then maybe in return, what's the best prank you've been able to play on them? And we don't even have to say names if you need to protect identities.
No, let me think.
Protect the guilty, obviously.
Yeah. No chance. David, as you said, got me on more than one occasion. There was the one, obviously, where, he speared me. And Nathaniel Chalobah drops down to do the 3 count. That one hurt. But funnily enough, he got me before that, a few weeks prior to that. I think it was in November. It was in November, because I remember I had a poppy on my lapel. And completely unbeknownst to me, I was doing a piece to camera. I was about 30 seconds in, and he just came and gave me a massive bear hug and jarred me forward and just completely caught me off guard. And we were doing like a live link. So I was like, right, okay, carry on. And then I went to the lengths of going in to see the medical team, and I said, explain what happened. I said, you haven't got a neck brace I could borrow, have you? And I was going to put like a brace on and go back out to training just to get him. And I was like, I'm going to get him. And they were like, oh no, the only one we've got is out at training, which obviously is more important because if, God forbid, someone gets injured, they have it there. So one of the women that works in the medicals, and bless her, she put we had a sling and she strapped me up and I put something around and literally as soon as I thought, I'm going to get him for this. And as soon as I walked out, the heavens opened and there was a massive downpour.
No.
And they all raced in at the end of training. I was like, right, I'm going to get you. And I never did. I never did get my own back. And he still owes me a suit. He knows that. So if he's watching, a pair of suit trousers kind of never made a full recovery following that rugby tackle. And he tried to get me again a couple of times as well, but thankfully didn't get away with it. But
you didn't get to try to shift your schedule, say, hey, maybe we shouldn't do this when they're walking out. Maybe we should pan as they're already there.
But you know what? It's a strange one, isn't it? Because we desperately wanted to get, you want to get that interaction. You want to get, because we are in such a privileged position that no one else is going to stand there with a camera and be able to sort of film the players as they walk out. And we get that every day with, before lockdown. And we were in such a privileged position, excuse me. But yeah, it does sometimes, it goes a bit pear-shaped. And he's not alone. A lot of the time people will come and I'll be sort of talking to camera and all of a sudden there'll be a little head that will pop up behind me, sort of just completely mimicking me. Willian's done it a number of times. Marcus Alonso's done it. Olivier Giroud's done it recently. Danny Drinkwater used to do it all the time. Juan Mata used to do it. Mikel used to do it. And yeah, but it's a risky game, but then sometimes you can get a really good bit of content that nobody else is in a privileged position to get. We have cameras from other broadcasters that will come and film sort of 10, 15 minutes worth of training every month. But they're very much at arm's length. But we're so lucky. We're so lucky that we get to be there. And like you've alluded to earlier, Brandon, that we get to develop these relationships. So yeah, it comes with risks, I suppose, but it pays off because they're a good bunch.
One of the things that we've noticed, I think especially over the last couple of years, is you're getting more of that kind of raw, kind of fun, playful content from the club. Whereas, maybe earlier on in the days of social media, it was incredibly buttoned up and very, very professional. And then I think the trend in social is that you want to see authentic, everything, right? So you want to see authentic reactions from players. You want to see jokes and things, and it's something that we've noticed. Do you find that to be the case as you've been shooting some of these bits?
I think you're spot on. I think absolutely right, and it's something that the players are very much aware of as well. But it goes both ways, and it comes back to that relationship that you spoke about. If we're filming training and something brilliant happens, they know we're filming it, so they're asking for it for their social media. Mm-hmm. So it's a two-way thing. It's a two-way thing, and if we like I said to you when we were speaking to the academy boys, it needs to be, and I think it's very important that we stress this to them as well, that we are there for them. Yes, we're there for us, and we're getting some great content. But you know what? We're there to help you as well. But absolutely, there are certain people that are very active on social media. Some not as much. But you get some great insight and some great content, and we've been really lucky as well with some of the stuff that we've got. We've changed the way that we filmed in recent years. It's much more of a sort of a guerrilla sort of fashion where the camera boys are getting the opportunity to go and shoot off the shoulder, and they're down filming feet, and they're down behind the goals, and they're getting some fantastic stuff. But with that, again, you get the odd football coming past, pinging past at 100 miles an hour, taking top lights off cameras. So you get that. But again, it comes down to the fact that, no one else is in a position to get this type of footage. Mm-hmm. And you have to develop that respect as well. And again, it's a two-way thing, but we have to have that respect that if we're watching training, if something's happening that is very tactical, for example, we know to switch off. No, we don't want to be putting things out. We don't want to be filming things that we shouldn't be doing. So it's building that trust and that relationship, which I think is really important and something that we shouldn't take for granted. But again, we've got a manager that we can have that open discourse with and just say, look, are you happy with what we're filming here, with where we are? Absolutely. Yep, no problem. Or if we're too close, then no problem at all. And I think that's a really important conversation or an important relationship to maintain.
So did Frank and Billy both give the sign off for his little tumble in the past couple of weeks? Over the
hurdle?
I'm not. Yeah, I saw that. I'll be honest with you, I've not been back because because of it, we're sort of abiding by obviously very strict regulations at the moment. So we had a cameraman in every day for the last couple of weeks. We have the photographer in there as well, but it's still very limited at the moment. So I've not been back at the training ground since March. So I'm sort of watching a lot of this stuff remotely. We're getting to do, I've done a few sort of remote interviews on Zoom, on FaceTime and things like that. But yeah, I'm enjoying some of the stuff that's coming out on social and on the Fifth Stand as much as anyone, really.